Right, another day, another dollar. I don't know why I said that. I never say that. It's throat coat. It's delicious. Also, branded mugs. Apologize for the green screen in the background. I'll be starting to stream shortly, so I had to get set up for that first. So, uh, see you on YouTube. So, chapters 12 through 18. Let's get started. This is a very small thing, but I love Wayne's description of his lucky hat and how he now knows it's lucky. And it's lucky it got stolen because if it hadn't been stolen, it might have been blown up like his duster. Oh, Wayne, always seeing the positive side of things. Also, speaking of Wayne seeing the positive side of things, I like the pep talk he gives to Marcy about using her pulsar powers as it's a benefit. Something she shouldn't be ashamed of. I like it. Miles and Wax fighting on top of the train is just one of look, there's a lot of great action pieces in these books, but that's something straight out of a movie. Oh, Alloy of Law. It's so good. The thing I like about it is one, Brandon actually dealing with the fact that fighting on a train is difficult, but these are two men who don't fight normal. They have some weird abilities as a result of their twin-born nature. This is the fight where we really get to see Miles's compounding and how scary it is, where he just takes a bullet right to the eye and he T1000s it and just closes it immediately. And he feels no pain. They get into that knife fight and it's, he's like stabbing his knife through his own arm and his metal mines are, stabbed into his body so you can't push on him. He is scary, especially not being able to feel pain is a very interesting side effect of his powers. And it's something that it's not something that I feel is explored as much in fiction. Just how not feeling pain would be a huge advantage in certain fights. It's very excellently done. I also like the little addition of how Miles doesn't care about the accuracy of the weapon. He just wants something high caliber that will get the job done. One that definitely fits his personality, but it also fits his powers. He can heal from anything, so he doesn't care how accurate he is. He'll just keep fighting. He just keeps closing the distance. Also very interesting to see that he harbors that hatred for Wayne. He doesn't like that Wayne got away. Doesn't like that at all. That's just scary, don't you think? It's scary to have someone who just blatantly doesn't really care. Doesn't care about the morals of the situation. All he cares about is, did you commit a crime? You're gone. Very, very the modern interpretation of Skybreaker. Very scary. The end situation is so good where Wax just realizes, no, I just got to waste Miles's time. Shove him off the train. That's all you have to do. Just shove him off the train. Don't fight him. That's how you beat Miles. You don't fight him. Because he is the irresistible object. There's nothing you can do to stop him from getting to you, so don't let him get to you. Skipping ahead a bit, I love Renette. Renette is amazing as a character. She's just so gruff, so exact. But one, we don't tend to see lurchers in the Mistborn universe, and getting to see her a little bit in action with all her little switches she's put everywhere so that she can just access her powers, just rip tools straight to her. Mundane uses of powers are always fun for me, and she uses it so well. Wax and Wayne sitting there trying to, oh, this is so good. Marcy's sitting there, what? How is this good? She's threatening to shoot at us, but she didn't shoot at us, so it's good. Oh, They have such interesting friends. Vindication, named after the Ascendant Warrior herself. Oh, that is such fan service. I'd be really interested if you read the books in a different language. What do they call the gun in your language? I'd be very interested to see if they have some sort of way to adapt that in other languages. Let us know. The design of the gun is so stinking cool. A safety in the handle so that only a lurcher or a coin shot could know when the safety's on or off. The special cylinder for the haze killer rounds, which, first of all, haze killer rounds. Oh, such a good concept. Such a good concept. And she decides to let Wax borrow it if he gives her a proper field test. Renette, you're awesome, and I hope we get more of you in the Lost Metal. Miles in Suit Part 2. 1, it's interesting to see Miles is thinking about whether or not he'll have to take the set down himself. He doesn't like the elites very much, and the set's made up of the elites, but they want the same thing as him, so they're useful for now, but he doesn't like how indebted he is to them. He wants his freedom, which makes Suit bringing in push and pull, which so over the top, push and pull. It just makes it all the more annoying. I really enjoyed seeing Miles just jump from the great height and just lands, and the description of his bones like healing the micro fractures as they form to prevent anything from happening. Ugh, that's grisly sounding, but at the same time, he just doesn't feel pain much anymore. And he's also just doing it to remind everyone who's in charge. He's in charge. I forget the name of his assistant. What was his name again? Clamps. Clamps was his name. I had to go look it up. Interesting that he's a fanatical survivorist where he's scarred his hands in the same pattern as Kelsier. That's grisly. Like, I know Kelsier was a fairly severe person, but even that's a bit much, don't you think? I also like that Tarson is the one that Miles has the most fondness for. He's very loyal. And I mean, what a right hand to have. Someone who's both Koloss blooded and a Pewterborn. Whew. Or not Pewterborn, Pewter arm. Thug. He's a thug. Skipping ahead again a bit, we got a lot of chapters to get through. Wayne's infiltration of the train yard to get into the called the Dreadnought? Failnaught? Failnaught, that's Smash Brother. Well, not Smash. Point is, something not. Pewternaut? Astronaut? Psychonaut? Psychonaut, that's what it was. I think it's the Failnaught. I don't know. I don't want to go up and look it up. I'm lazy. Point is, Wayne gets so into his character, it is incredible. And then he just switches between characters like it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. My favorite part being the shots come and he gives the description to his superior. And then the superior is basically repeating everything to his superiors, trying to get everyone to be like, no, see, it's good. We stopped them. And they're going to try and give Wayne a commendation. And he deflects to this captain, which is only fair, right? Because Wayne's put him in a bad situation. Got to get out of there before people ask too many questions. But they've been able to secret away our good friend Wax into the actual train car that's going to be robbed. It's a great plan. Only one problem. Miles knows that Wax knows how they're doing this. Man, replacing an entire train car, that is absolutely just full of flair. And I do admire that, but I just feel there's got to be a better way to make money. I don't know. Then again, the whole point of this, as we know by the end of the book, wasn't just to make money. It was to crash specific houses. It was all that. But I love this constant chess match between Miles and Wax, where they're both law keepers, so they both think like criminals. And that's one of the other things I love. I love Miles's, I guess, reverie, you'd almost say, to himself, where he's shocked that more law keepers don't turn to crime because they've seen so many bad criminals that at a certain point you just want to see it done right. I mean, I think I think that everyone's guilty of that at some point in their life. They're trying to think, how would I get away with this? For the record, I think I'd be an amazing drug runner. I would always have my registration up. I drive like a minivan, something really nondescript. Let's stop plotting crimes though, and let's get to this show. I forgot we can't get to the show yet because we had Wax's preparations inside the fail knot. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up. The break knot. Break knot. Okay, that makes more sense than fail knot. Anyway, point is, he gets himself in there, and he has this nice conversation with him, sort of with himself, sort of with Harmony. It's good. Oh, I almost forgot the flirty conversation he had with Marcy. Let's do that real quick. I really like that he doesn't pursue Marcy, even though he does, feel an attraction to her. And what's not to be attracted to, especially for a man like Wax? She's a good fit. But I like that he doesn't pursue it. She is far too young for him. And on top of it, she has too much hero worship of him. I think that could lead to problems in the relationship, because in a relationship you really have to view your partner as an equal. And so I think this is a good call on his part. It is very sad for Marcy, who kind of puts herself out there, and he gently puts her down in a way that doesn't feel like a rejection, I feel. I mean, she's still rejected, but not a full rejection. It's just, anytime your feelings aren't reciprocated, it hurts. And so you feel for Marcy. So yes, we're going to Wax in the break knot, and he's making all his preparations for battle. And at a certain point, you gotta love his conversation with Harmony, where it's almost an accusation. Well, you wanted me to do this, so I'm expecting a little bit of help tonight, which comes back in a big way later. But before that can happen, he's got to make a dramatic entrance. Gotta love Big Blunt Miles. Just gonna rip the door right off and then shoot anyone that's in there, because he knows Wax is in there. But Wax knows he knows that he's in there. And so he's got a package of dynamite ready. Now, it is interesting that he says that he could have done more damage, but he wanted to make sure that Steris wasn't right there with them, and he could inadvertently, kill her with the explosion. But it's a great little distraction to start, and then the battle begins in full. The addition of push and pull to the battlefield really causes some issues for Wax. And I love seeing him try and problem solve throughout the fight. And then Wayne entering right as Wax is about to get killed by, I think it was push. Also, I'm starting to fight hiccups. My apologies. They do such a good job of making sure all three of them have something to do in this fight. Obviously, Wax and Wayne are pulling the greater amount of aggro, but Marcy is gunning people down with her rifle, including getting pull. But I love that Marcy's smart enough to understand that once push comes looking for her, her gun ain't aluminum. The bullets are, apparently, but the gun ain't. And so she smartly just gets away from the gun because she knows that thing is going to attract him, push like a magnet. Literally is kind of how it's working. But unfortunately, he starts using the gun. Brandon just does such an excellent job of letting you feel the desperation in this fight that Wax and Wayne are having. It's not going well. It's not going well at all. And Wax gets hit in the side, and he has that moment where he's sort of fading a little bit, and he has the deep conversation with Harmony. Let's talk about that. Just as a fan of Era 1, it feels so good to get to hear from Sazed. He's frankly the character that we've been the most intrigued by from the old era, because what's it like to be a god? Gotta find out. And so we get to hear from him directly for the first time, and he's still very much Sazed, talking about making sure everything's balanced and such. But I love that he's still also a little bit snarky. The thing that's easy to forget about Sazed is that he's the rogue Terraceman. He's the one who's a little irreverent. We got that first impression of him from Vin way back all the way in the Final Empire, where Vin's asking him, hey, could you maybe move a little bit? And he sarcastically moves and gets in her way, and he's clearly having a good time with it. Fits in well with Kelsier's crew, I think. Oh my goodness, I'm not talking like him. I think. Point is, he gives a very Sazed answer. I thought you were going to give me I'm trying to remember the exact line. I thought you were going to give me some help. You asked for a little help, and I've given you a little help. Well, could you give more, maybe? And just that whole conversation, and Wax notes how surreal it is. Just that wonderful moment of Wax looking down and realizing what's right in front of him. His old chest, the one he gave to Tiom to take away his stuff. And it has his duster and it has his Starions. And you just get that awesome line from Sazed. You're welcome. This version of Sazed, it's so interesting seeing him trying to do as little as possible while still having a net positive effect on things. It's a very interesting conundrum for him. And so he does the best he can. And he sends help. He sent them Wax and Wayne. I'm a sucker for this line. I always find it interesting whenever someone tackles godhood in a story, because talk about you can't really put yourself in the shoes of a god. It's a little outside of most writers' experiences. But Brandon does it so well. He definitely shows the folly of wanting that type of power. It is responsibility of it and the weight of it. And I always say the cosmic calculus of trying to figure out what is the quote unquote right thing to do. That is, even with, this expanded knowledge, how on earth can you possibly just succeed? And how would it not every day be torture to see all the horrible things in the world? And knowing you could do something about it, but to do something about it would take away people's ability to choose and turn you into a tyrant god. That cannot be easy. And so he does as little as he has to give people the maximum chance at success while also giving them choice. And Wax is his sword. Our final moment we'll talk about today is Marcy getting captured and Wax walking in dramatically. Brandon has a thing for characters getting to make dramatic entrances. Kelsier does it, Vin does it. Even Vasher and Kaladin Kaladin especially. Kaladin's a total drama queen, and I love him for it. Is to walk in dramatically to save Marcy. 2 shotguns on each shoulder, wearing the not mist cloak, the mist duster. I don't know, the duster cloak, whatever. It is so so cool. Dusters are so freaking cool. Like if I could pull wearing one off, I totally would. I'd look weird doing it, but if I could do it and look cool at the same time, worth the investment, I think. But the chapter ends with Wax shooting good old Miles right in the side with the shotgun. And that's where we leave off for our next episode. Our next episode is going to be the completion of Alloy of Law, which is... I still can't believe that Brandon didn't plan this story from the beginning, just because it feels like it fits so well. I can't imagine at this point jumping straight to the 1980s sort of era spy thriller that's going to be Era 3. This feels like such a necessary step. Now, obviously, it's because once he decided he has to complete the story, it is a necessary step. But could you imagine not getting Wax and Wayne's story? It's going to be great. I can't wait to finish this. And we'll have that finished for you next week. So make sure you finish up the rest of Alloy of Law. Now that we're all caught up, I'm definitely looking for questions again. So if you have any questions for me about my opinions or any observations you've made about the entirety of Alloy of Law, get those in so that I can comment on your comment. That was a good sentence. Anyway, I will see you all next time. But until then, thanks for listening. And remember, there's always another secret.